Dr. Jason Courtmeyer?
Yes, Dr. Rashidi. Come in. Sit down. I've reviewed your findings recently, based on Dr. Klein's original research. It shows promise. Does our mutual client think so?
He has a lot riding on this research, as you well know. I believe he is happy with the prospect of weaponizing this pathogen. After all, he has done most of the legwork, creating the perfect host to act as a carrier for the disease and allow it the chance to mature finally.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, if all goes to plan, we will have a working pathogen in no time.
That is by no means certain, Doctor. Time will tell whether or not the host will respond in a way we can predict.
That is our client's responsibility. I have faith in his ability to anticipate his fine work and to predict the outcome. It's only our responsibility to keep up our end of the bargain. The end will justify the means.
The alarm sounded. A privately owned tech company situated somewhere in San Francisco had been robbed. God only knows how they managed to get in. There had to be a glitch in the security net. That was the only explanation. The truth is, whoever had breached this place was not going to succeed as much in his escape. The Black Squad was positioned and awaited the arrival of their target, each gun trained at the door that remained slightly ajar. Silence. There was nothing but a heavy silence as the men and women of Black Squad crouched, waiting with bated breath. There was at least half a dozen in this unit. Soon enough, however, the intel they were given proved to be wrong. The enemy was indeed ready and determined to demolish any barrier. A figure passed through the wall suddenly. It took Black Squad by surprise as they opened fire on the target. The figure casually walked towards them, seemingly impervious to their hail of fire. The bullets passed through the form like they were a ghost. Clips fired, and still, the figure advanced on them. "He's a hologram!" shouted the sergeant. "Hard light," the figure corrected the man, pinning the sergeant up against the wall. The other members of Black Squad trained their fire on 5 other targets that appeared from the doorway.
"There's more of them! Open fire!"
Still, the bullets had no effect. They just passed straight through them. "They're hard light too!" shouted another member of the squad. "Correct," the one known as Mirror Hadist said, pivoting for a swift dropkick. The squad member went down, and quickly he was attacked by the one called Blake Placid. Red Rose trained her thorny vines on the remainder of the squad, trapping and holding them. While Dorica went to work, hacking and slashing her victims with her razor-sharp nails. The sergeant looked down at the face of the hologram that had him pinned. He tried to loosen the hand that was gripped tightly around his throat to no avail. The holographic intruder was much too strong. He looked up at the sergeant fighting to get free. The mask that he was wearing looked like the face of an oryx. Most peculiar. "You are professionals, I take it," the substantial hologram said. He flexed his fingers, attenuating the man's esophagus between index finger and thumb. There was a brief crack as the man's body went limp. "I beg to differ," he followed by saying, allowing the body to fall. "Come, my Gemini Lazarus Syndicate. We have the components we came for." The others vanished from the room. Their leader, the one with the oryx mask, strolled casually from the scene.
Yesterday, the first part of the plan was set in motion. In the early hours of the morning, OpenAI was broken into by a unique team of mythological beings calling themselves the Gemini Lazarus Syndicate.
OpenAI? That is the company working presently on the quantum brain data transfer modules? Or QBDTMS?
That is correct. These are data sticks equipped with a quantum memory. They are large enough to store the data our companies need to advance our research. And the Mythkey Institute has a quantum data template of its own. However, this quantum device is not something the industry has recently constructed. It's an artifact, ancient in the extreme.
I've heard of it. It is supposed to be some sort of tablet that, every generation, scans the world around it and stores this infinite information as coding?
Indeed, yes. It is the oldest piece of technology known to exist. know little about its construction. We can't tell yet whether it was built by ancient man or by some advanced alien race, though we have spies within the Institute itself who believe it was the latter. Now, as you said, every generation the device sends out its probing searchlight across the world. It collects data, DNA, thought patterns, mental pathways, and gathers research on air conditions, mapping terrain, geological studies, that sort of thing. There is information in that thing that predates the dinosaurs even. The storage capacity it requires must be phenomenal.
Not to mention its power input.
But that's the thing. It doesn't require any input. It is utterly self-sufficient. No batteries required. I'm telling you, that template holds the key to humanity's past. It holds its color, its flavor. Everything is there. My question is, why should the Mythkey Institute hoard all that knowledge for itself?
You're right. You are so right. So, the squad is going to extract this template device from the Institute?
The extraction team plan to use the quantum transfer modules they just stole to harvest the information from the template. It should require at least 10 or 15 modules at most to obtain that much data. Even then, they will need to access certain chosen points of code. We cannot afford not to be discerning in this matter.
I see. Well, here's hoping this goes well.
Rome, the Vatican City. Hidden away, locked inside the walls of the historical library, the tablet remained, a massive stone construct, 25 feet in height, with a circumference of 49.325 square meters. It lay hidden in the basement, maintained by environmental support systems and a constantly measured static-free zone. Despite the security measures in place, there seemed to be no protection from the hard-light figure that stood before the template. The figure placed one module beside the other, in a row along the base of the giant stone circle. The intruder activated the 15 independent modules. Each one scanned for selected areas of the template, downloading specific data for the thief's requirements. The hard-light figure could take his time. He had deactivated the alarm systems before beginning the extraction. The visuals on the screen of his handheld panel showed the individual progress of each download. However, he failed to notice another shadowy figure as it stealthily moved into place.
Hey,
The other figure spoke, at last putting the hologram on his guard.
do you have the authorization to do that?
The hologram quickly snapped into a defensive posture until he was sure against whom he was supposed to be fighting. Too late. A fist came at him. Hard light became soft, shifting in the blink of an eye. The fist simply passed through the hologram as if passing through thin air. "Nice try," said the hollow man, turning back to hard light substance. "My turn," he rasped, swinging a length of pipe at his assailant. The attacker dodged and went back into a handspring. The attacker rose and merely remained frozen for a time, waiting to see what the intruder did next. At this point, the hollow man was joined by 4 other holograms. The attacker, realizing that he was outmatched, quickly decided to move to the intercom panel located on the wall. The hollow man, who was joined by the others, turned his attention suddenly to the modules, laying at his feet. Then he looked at the computer pad in his hand. The last module was at 96% completion. The other modules were complete. He waited a few seconds before telling the others in his unit to disengage the transfer. The hard-light figure looked over at the intruder. The man was already on the intercom warning security.
Better give up now, he told them. There's not a chance in hell you're getting out of here.
"Don't be too certain of that," the other told him confidently. The 5 holograms shivered, transitioning to soft light. Backing steadily away from the approaching aggressor, they phased through the solid wall behind them. The aggressor went back to the intercom.
This is Blood Squire. They're out of the artifact room. Repeat, they're out of the artifact room. They should be heading on the north wing, traveling down corridor 9A. The intruders are hard light holograms. Repeat, hard light.
The 5 intruders came up against a barrage of fire. A security detail had positioned themselves at the end of the hall. One had a shoulder-mounted disruptor cannon and aimed it at the 5 holograms and fired.
How did our holograms escape?
Well, it's quite simple, really. Once they were clear of the containment area, they simply deactivated their hard light avatars and ended up back in the lab where their physical bodies were.
And the modules?
The modules were, strictly speaking, buffers. Once the data they had gathered was downloaded into their memory, it could be shunted to our main driver here at our facility.
Have we begun any research on our findings?
My friend, we have found a lot of useful information. I mean, a lot. It even reveals facts about our history on this planet. It tells us a whole lot about the gods and about the chariot in the sky. There is data on everything that remained on the ground during those early times, as well as everything that was orbiting this world. True, we still have a giddying amount of information to sift through, but the sky is the limit. We can make real advances with this knowledge.
Thank you, Dr. Rashidi. Please keep me apprised on any fresh news you might have, no matter how small.
With pleasure, Mr. Quagmire.